The sun was sinking into the horizon, painting the sky in shades of fiery orange and deep purple. The three friends, Kyle, Megan, and Rachel, paddled their small rowboat toward the island in the middle of the lake. Kyle had insisted on the detour. "It's perfect for a night under the stars," he'd said, waving a map he'd printed out from some obscure hiking forum. Megan, ever the planner, had packed enough snacks and gear to rival a scout troop. Rachel, the wild card, had tagged along for the ride, her trademark smirk hinting at some private joke. When they reached the shore, the island was even better than Kyle had promised. The trees formed a natural canopy, and the soft sand glowed pale in the moonlight. After setting up their tents, Megan staked out a fire pit, while Kyle dragged the rowboat farther up the beach. "Don't forget to tie it down," Megan called, her voice sharp with her usual practicality. Kyle gave her a mock salute. "Got it, boss." As the night deepened, they gathered around the fire. Sparks danced upward like fireflies. They laughed, roasted marshmallows, and swapped old stories. Kyle bragged about his survival skills. Megan teased him about a disastrous camping trip the year before. Rachel mostly listened, chiming in only to throw in her trademark sarcasm. Eventually, the fire burned low, and exhaustion pulled them toward their tents. The island was quiet except for the distant lapping of waves against the shore. Morning brought a rude shock. Kyle stumbled out of his tent, rubbing his eyes, only to find the beach empty where the rowboat had been. His heart skipped. He ran down the sand, searching. Nothing. "Where's the boat?" Megan asked, emerging from her tent and wrapping herself in a jacket against the early morning chill. "It was here," Kyle said, spinning around. "I tied it down, I swear." Rachel appeared next, squinting at the scene. "Maybe the knot wasn't as secure as you thought," she said, her voice neutral but her smirk conspicuously absent. Kyle shook his head. "No way. I double-checked it." Megan's face darkened. "So what? It just floated off by itself?" They searched the entire perimeter of the island, yelling at the top of their lungs and scanning the lake's shimmering surface. No sign of the boat. No answer to their calls. Just endless water. By midday, tempers were frayed. Megan paced back and forth, muttering about signal flares and maps. Kyle tried to fashion a crude fishing rod out of a stick and some string. Rachel sat cross-legged near the fire pit, silent for once. It was Megan who broke the silence. "Okay, we need to talk. We're stuck on this island and we need a plan. Rachel, you've been awfully quiet. Got any bright ideas?" Rachel's eyes flicked up, and for a moment, she looked like she might laugh, but then her expression hardened. "Actually, yeah, I do have something to say." Kyle stopped fiddling with his makeshift fishing rod. Megan froze mid-pace. Rachel stood and dusted off her jeans, the firelight casting strange shadows on her face. "There's something I should have told you guys before we came out here. Something about me, about why I agreed to this trip." She hesitated, then gave a bitter smile. "I didn't come just for the adventure." "What are you talking about?" Megan asked, her tone sharp. "I read about this island," Rachel said, her voice low. "There's a story about people disappearing here. Boats go missing. Weird things happen." Kyle snorted, though the sound was more nervous than amused. "You're kidding, right?" "I wish I was," Rachel said. Her voice was deadly serious now. "I wanted to see if it was true. And now, maybe it is." Megan's face twisted in disbelief. "You're telling us now? After we're stranded? Do you have any idea what you've done?" "I didn't make the boat disappear," Rachel snapped. Maybe whatever's on this island did. Kyle stood abruptly. You've been acting weird this whole trip. Are you saying you planned for this to happen? No, Rachel shot back, her voice rising. But I knew the risk. You thought you'd drag us into your stupid ghost hunting experiment, Megan shouted, stepping closer. What kind of friend does that? Enough, Kyle yelled, his voice cutting through the argument. This isn't helping. Rachel, if you know something, now's the time to spill it. Everything. But Rachel just looked away, her jaw clenched. The day dragged on. The friends stopped talking, each retreating into their own corner of the island. Megan searched the shore. Kyle kept fiddling with survival tools, and Rachel sat staring out at the lake, her expression unreadable. By nightfall, a thick fog rolled in, muffling the world around them. The fire burned low, its light barely illuminating the tense, silent trio. Somewhere in the distance, a strange sound echoed, a low, mournful wail carried on the wind. Megan stiffened. What was that? Kyle shook his head, his face pale. Probably nothing. But Rachel didn't look up. She just stared into the fire, her expression unreadable. Rachel, Megan said, her voice trembling. What aren't you telling us? Rachel didn't answer. The wailing grew louder, closer. Then, the fire went out.